Ida for not wanting my fiancée to go to dinner with her boss? I'm basically at the point of breaking off my relationship with my fiancée because I'm so frustrated by this whole thing. I guess this question is among my last salvos to see if I'm being an asshole and unreasonable. Or if the problem is on her end. I've been with my fiancée for several years now. She recently graduated and got an amazing HR job with a pretty high profile we get your DUI charges dropped type law firm. The guy who started the firm is known as being an ambulance chaser, shyster and scammer because, very frankly, he's trying to portray that in his commercials. I've met him a couple of times in person, and he's a little better, but I still kind of felt like I needed a shower. Anyway, 3 weeks ago, my fiancée came home and announced that the lawyer dude/boss was taking the whole staff out to celebrate today because it was the firm's biggest year ever. This is the timeline as far as I can remember. 3 weeks ago, she told me to keep today open because SOs are invited too. Cool, I can do that. 3 days later, she corrects herself and says she was mistaken. It was just a work party, and she tells me it's cool if I make other plans that night. No problem. Then, a week ago, she let it slip that it's not really a party for the whole office, just for the people that boss thinks were part of the success. I'm starting to get a little woofy here. A day later, miraculously, all the people going to dinner with the boss are under the age of 30 and female. At that point, alarm bells really started going off hard in my head. 2 days ago, the list was down to 2 people, my fiancé and another new attorney. So, if I'm hearing this correctly, the 2 people mainly responsible for this 20-year-old company's biggest year ever are both recent college grads, both female and both around 25? And all my fiancé says is, "Aren't you proud of me?" Then, today, the big day boss texts her at 11 a.m. and says, "Hey, since this is supposed to be a celebration, don't drive. I'll send a car service for you." My fiancé still doesn't smell anything fishy, so I ask her just for my own edification to see what he says if she tells him. That's a great offer, but my fiancé knows the restaurant, and he can drive me. And to my not surprise, boss replies back in seconds, "Sorry if I had to change restaurants at the last minute, I'll send the car." My fiancé looks at me, apparently without the screeching submarine klaxon and Klieg lights that are going off in my head, and says, "See, it's all cool, I'll just take the car service." I'm freaking the fuck out. I told her that she can't go. She called me a controlling asshole. I told her that this whole thing had been shady as fuck, and I relayed the timeline I just posted above using my texts and emails from her as evidence. She said that my hoarding evidence like this is an example of how I'm a controlling asshole, and she wants to go to the dinner now more than ever. I told her I might be an asshole, but I'm not stupid. She told me over and over again, "He's married. He can't do anything that would affect his marriage, so you're being the stupid one." That leads me to believe that even she understands the larger implications that are at play here. She locked herself in our bedroom and hadn't come out for at least an hour. I don't know what to do. I can't beat the door down or yell at her, and I think if this is one of those situations where the shoe was on the other foot, she'd be freaking the fuck out, and I'd see her reaction and just call it off. Ida? More info: she's 25, I'm 24. It's her first relationship ever. I've had a couple of others, but not as intense, and it's not that I don't trust her, she has just shown over and over that she can be incredibly naive and has almost no street smarts, case in point. Also, I think if she were disloyal, she wouldn't have told me about any of it. She had plenty of opportunities to just go after the time she told me SOs weren't invited. One thing that bugs me is her calling me a controlling asshole because she did the same to me. I had a friend that's a girl from middle school up until last year. She was a great friend. I never so much as kissed or held her hand, but my fiancé was insanely jealous of her because she couldn't imagine that guys and girls could ever be as close as friends as we were without there being a romantic component. So she didn't want me to hang out with my friend anymore. I don't remember the exact words she used, but they were way more direct than "I don't want you seeing her, friend, anymore." And I ended a 12-year friendship with her because it made her uncomfortable. I didn't sulk, I didn't stomp around, I didn't slam doors, and I didn't accuse her of being controlling. I listened to her concerns and acted on them, and in my opinion as of yesterday, in stark contrast to how she reacted when I said the words "you can't go." Update 1. So, judgment was essentially ESH, which I can accept because I should never have used the wording/phrase "you can't go to dinner with him," even though the situation was drowning in more red flags than a Comintern May Day parade. Fair enough. She didn't speak to me all day Monday, and the last words I heard from her were Sunday night after she got home as she slammed the door to our bedroom, saying, "You're still a controlling asshole, and we're breaking up." As I mentioned in a comment, her nuclear bomb is always saying, "We're breaking up" whenever she doesn't have the upper hand in an argument, so I didn't make much of it, and in reality, I was just relieved that she was home and apparently nothing bad happened at the dinner. So, like I said, Monday, she didn't say a word to me. I was only able to get into our bedroom to get some clothes, and I couched it again Monday night. Whatever, she was pissed, she was embarrassed that she didn't see it coming, she was angry at me. I figured I'd give her some space. So I did. Tuesday morning, I noticed she was getting ready for work. I couldn't keep my mouth shut anymore, and I incredulously asked her if she was really going back to that fucking job. She said, "Why wouldn't I? I told her because the fucking owner of the company had done a month-long manipulation to get her into a threesome with his other little side piece. She said that I was a fucking idiot. I was fucking flabbergasted. And she was stomping around the house, putting her shoes on, putting on her makeup and whatnot. I told her that if she showed up to that office today and didn't quit or follow up with the state bar, he was going to know that she was okay with what happened, at least on the surface. Even if she doesn't have sex with him, he knows that she has a really high tolerance for his bullshit, and he's going to keep working at her. I also told her that she has an MBA with a focus in HR, and it shouldn't take a fucking redneck auto mechanic to tell her this shit. I own a foreign specialty auto repair facility with my uncle. Now, just to be clear, I never once demanded that she quit. I said it was incredulous that she was going back to a job, considering her boss openly said that he wanted to fuck her. She is supposed to be the HR professional that people can come talk to when something like this happens. By tacitly going along with it and not even calling him out, her professional integrity is forever compromised. As long as she stays at this law firm, she can't be trusted, she can't confront him, and she can't be the ethical voice of reason against someone we know is a sleazebag. He forever has dirt on her. Anyway, her last words to me were, "Yes fucking asshole, I am the professional. You aren't," and she slammed the door. So Tuesday, I had no idea what I was going to do. I knew in my heart I needed to end the relationship, her situation with her boss notwithstanding. Rather, her method of fighting, name-calling, and silent treatment are just not acceptable. But I still wasn't sure. Anyway, she got home that day and was clearly rattled by something. She was still silent, but a sad silent, not an angry silent, if that makes sense. She absolutely would not tell me what was wrong, but she didn't lock herself in the room this time. She just sat almost catatonic on the couch, watching a sitcom she doesn't even like. My assumption, she fucked him, her or both. She gave in to him. I have no proof of this, but after all the bullshit, after the quick change in her behavior, it's the only thing I can think happened. In my head and heart, we are broken up. It's hard to stress how public a figure this guy is. He's like the local version of the Need Cash Now jingle. Everyone in town knows his face, everyone knows his reputation. And he's a lawyer. I am 100% positive he's too smart to assault someone. So, if my assumption is they had sex, my assumption is it was consensual. However, other people have made some very valid arguments as to other possibilities. I'm not saying I'm right or they are, but after 48 hours of little sleep, the context and situation at hand, it's where my brain landed. It's now just a matter of separating our shit, figuring out what to do about the lease on our apartment, canceling the small amount of wedding planning we have done, and, oh yeah, telling her. She may be feeling the same way and be done with me, too, which honestly may make this easier for everyone. My heart goes out to her because I do care about her, and if she did have sex with her boss under his bullshit pretense, I imagine she would feel like shit. But I tried to warn her. I saw it coming from a mile away. No, I didn't use the correct words in trying to warn her, and I take no pleasure in being right, but I did try. Thanks, everyone, still ESH. Update 2, for some people, I'm a victim, for some people, I'm a victimizer. I asked for people's opinions, so I will try very hard to keep both in mind going forward. A sincere thank you for your input, good or bad. So, after she came home today, she said she wanted to take a shower. She was still very pissy and told me not to ask her any questions until she got out of the shower and said she wanted to talk then. She usually gets home at 6 p.m. on the dot, so I knew something was up when she showed up at 3:30 p.m. I said it was fine, but I was literally on pins and needles until she came back out to our computer room where I was working. So, at about 4:15, she comes out with a towel wrapped around her hair and just one around her waist. In my head, I figure if she were really breaking up with me, she wouldn't let me see her breasts. It wasn't a sexual gesture by any stretch, but it also showed that she wasn't covering up around me. I took that as a good sign because I wasn't sure about breaking up with her, and at least we had options. So, first of all, as nutty as I made her deservedly sound, she has never had compunctions about apologizing when she's wrong. So she said that she wanted to say that she was very sorry for all the things that she had said to me starting on Sunday. She was sorry for throwing her shoe at me, she was sorry for the silent treatment, and she was sorry for doubting my judgment. I told her that I appreciated it. Then she told me that she quit yesterday. I told her that I very much agreed with that. She said that yesterday she went into the office and the boss was waiting for her in her office. Now, this is important to mention. Since the law firm is an old converted historic house close to downtown, most of the staff work in what used to be the main house. My fiancé's office was literally the outdoor shed/garage. It's a very nice and comfortable conversion, but it's still separated from the main house. So his sitting in her office meant he had to go out in the backyard, find a key he didn't usually have, unlock her space and wait for her. He told her that he wanted to make sure there were no misunderstandings from the night prior and to make sure that all the doors weren't shut or some such nonsense. She told me that she told him that she was deeply upset by his proposal and didn't know what she was going to do. I guess he told her that her value in the company could either go up or down depending on how she decided to proceed. She said that she walked out on the spot and didn't go back to work. She spent the rest of the day with her sister, trying to figure out what she was going to do. That was yesterday, and I guess she still doesn't know. I guess she spent all day today looking for other jobs and sitting in the employment office of her MBA office and talking with her advisor. I asked her why she just didn't tell me any of this yesterday and why she screamed at me. She said she was sorry again, but she was a little shell-shocked that she faced serious sexual harassment in her first job out of the gate and honestly didn't even know what she wanted to say to me. I told her that the silent treatment really hurt and that it allowed my imagination to run wild. I didn't tell her what I said here in my posts. She again said she was sorry and that the way she acted throughout the entire event wasn't fair. I told her that I really did love her, but I hadn't slept in 2 nights. I was exhausted and hurt and didn't know what to do, so I was going to stay at my uncle's house for at least a few nights, to sleep if nothing else. She said that was fine and she'd wait as long as I wanted her to. I told her that I think we need some sort of counseling so we learn how to talk better with each other. She agreed. So after that, I packed up a bag and am now at my uncle's house. She did give me a hug and kiss on the cheek on my way out the door, which was pretty nice, but right now, I need some sleep. Still, here's what I do know, I want to stay with her. I need to never use words like you can't go ever again. I really do love her. We are fine with money without her working. I am co-owner of an auto repair business with my uncle, and we have had a great few years. And for what I don't know, and didn't ask, yet at least, what is she going to do about her boss? How does this affect her future employment? I just hope she will realize we are fine without her working and she takes her time and finds a good job with a good boss. I'm sure there are a million other things I'm forgetting or questions I'm not answering. I think the moderators are sick of this thread, so it's locked. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Found out GF tried to hide that she was married, so I exposed her affair to everyone. I 28M met my ex, 30F, when I started a new job and we started dating shortly after. Unfortunately, I found out that she was married and planning a family with another man not long after. Not that long ago I got out of a really bad relationship and decided that it would be best for me to start over somewhere else. I had been wanting to leave my job for some time and the relationship ending was the perfect opportunity for me to move and to do that. I ended up finding a job in Seattle, a place that I had always been interested in living. When I started, everybody was so friendly. I had always been the type of person who kept their work life and personal life separate, but it was easy to mix them in the new office. For the first time in my life, it truly felt like I had a work family. Everyone in the office loved Halloween, so they threw an annual party every year. I was excited to go. It was my favorite holiday and I thought it was a great way to get in with my other coworkers. When I was there, I met perhaps the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. At first, I thought she must have been another coworker's date or something because I hadn't seen her around the office. She noticed me as well and decided to strike up a conversation. I found out that she actually worked in the office and had been out of the country on business and returned just a few days before the party. The Halloween party surprisingly got kind of rowdy. There were a lot of people who indulged a little too much in the open bar and said and did some weird things. The woman that I met took the opportunity to kiss me. It escalated from there and we ended up hooking up in the bathroom. I had never done anything like that, so I didn't really know what that would mean for us moving forward. I thought it might be awkward at first and I didn't want anything to be uncomfortable between us. The party ended and everyone went home. The following Monday everybody came in and discussed how crazy the party was. I wasn't sure if the woman was going to be super excited to see me, so I didn't look for her. Around lunchtime she actually found me and we talked. She ended up telling me that she thought we had some kind of connection and didn't regret what we did. She then told me that the office had a strict no dating policy so we couldn't tell anybody about us. I didn't know anybody else in the office that well yet, so I didn't have anyone that I immediately wanted to run to tell about the new girl I was seeing. It was easy for me to keep that a secret from them. She and I dated in secret for a few months. We would sneak small kisses in the break room, we would hold hands under tables, and we would exchange longing glances at each other. I kind of liked sneaking around. She would come back to my apartment some nights after work and we would hook up before she would go back to her apartment. I asked her why she never brought me to her place, and she told me that she had a roommate who would always nag her about having guests over. She also always made up excuses not to sleep over at my place, like not having clothes for work or having early meetings. I never suspected that the reason we were keeping our relationship a secret was because she was actually married. Here's the thing about that. She wore a wedding ring and I didn't think anything about it. I didn't even notice because she wore a lot of rings. Honestly, before I knew she was married I didn't even know what finger a wedding ring went on. So, maybe it was my own stupidity that kept it going for so long. One day, I was in the office and chatting with one of my coworkers when they casually mentioned going to dinner with my girlfriend and her husband. I felt my face go hot as soon as they said that. I clarified, not thinking that they had the right information. But they confirmed to me that she was in fact married. I couldn't believe it right away. I was dumbfounded by the information. I mean, how could I not have known she was married? She lied to me about our relationship. I needed to see for myself, so just out of curiosity, I texted her and asked her if she wanted to go out that night. She told me that she had some family over and couldn't. I couldn't help but think that was just another lie. I struck up a conversation with the same coworker later that day and I asked them about where they were going for dinner. They started telling me all about the restaurant they planned on visiting. I had asked my girlfriend about social media early on in our relationship and she told me that she didn't have any. I didn't have any reason not to believe that was the case, so I didn't have her on anything. After finding out that she might have been married, I searched her online and I found all the evidence I needed. She had been married for about 3 years and from everything I saw online it looked like they were very happy together. I was the other man in the relationship and I didn't even know it. My blood was boiling at the thought of her lying to me so blatantly. I knew that I needed to confront her about it, and her husband needed to know about what she did. I tried to think of a way to do so calmly, but my impulsiveness got the better of me and I decided to crash their dinner. I found the restaurant that my coworker told me they would be at and I let myself in. I saw all 4 of them sitting at a table together, laughing and sharing a bottle of wine. The coworker that I had been speaking to earlier saw me and waved me over. They happily introduced me to their partner as well as the husband of my girlfriend. Her face fell when she saw me. I could tell she knew exactly what was about to happen. I shook the husband's hand and wrinkled my eyebrows, pretending like it was the first time I heard she was married. I told her that she never told me she had a husband, otherwise, I would have never been with her. I knew going in that she had a husband, but I played the victim as best as I could so she would be made out as this big villain. I told her that what she was doing was wrong and everybody in the room looked very confused. I explained everything to them and her husband confessed that he knew there was something going on. He stormed out of the restaurant and she followed behind him. When they were gone, I explained everything in more detail to my coworker, especially about how she lied to me and told me that there was a strict no dating policy in the office. Apparently, that was actually true. Dating within the office was prohibited to prevent drama between the employees. There was a clause in our contracts that possible termination could be in order should that agreement be breached. The next time I was in the office I went right to the hour department and disclosed the relationship to them. I explained everything and I told them that it was likely there would be drama between my girlfriend and me given the fact that she was a liar and a cheater. Part of me thought that I would be fired and she would be allowed to keep her job because of seniority reasons. There was no reason to fire both of us, so if one person had to be fired it would have been me. I was looking for other jobs and positions after I told them and waited for their decision. Come to find out, the coworker that was at the restaurant with her went to Our and explained everything that happened. They were clearly on my side in the events of everything and told Our that if anybody should stay it should be me. I got a call from Our later that day telling me that the situation was handled and I was given a formal warning about dating in the office, but my girlfriend was terminated. I felt nice to know that they took my side and everything. It was good to know that they saw the right side and didn't just align with her even though she was the cheater. My coworker told me a few months later that my ex-girlfriend was getting divorced from her husband and actively looking for a job. Termination never looks good on your record, so I knew she would have been having a difficult time. I didn't know what else was going on with her, and I really didn't care. I actually reached out to her ex-husband to express how sorry I was. I genuinely didn't know anything about him and as soon as I found out I tried to correct the issue. He wasn't receptive to talking to me at first, which was understandable because he was probably in a lot of pain. After a few weeks, he reached out to me and told me that it was a difficult thing to hear, but he was glad that I told him what happened. They were actually planning on starting a family, so he was happy it ended before there were children involved.